Hi guys, this is Bülent Bıyıkoğlu, the developer of SynthMaster. After years of hard work, we finally released the beta version of SynthMaster 3 this week. And today I'm going to give you an overview of the new features in SynthMaster 3. Let's start off with the default preset, which is actually a multi-layer preset. We have 5 layers. This preset is designed by our product manager and sound designer Gerçek Dorman. Let's first hear the preset. As you see, this preset has 5 different layers. So, which means SynthMaster 3 actually can have multiple layers, up to 16 actually. So, we can have up to 16 layers, and we can add or remove layers using this menu here. We can also duplicate an existing layer from here. Each layer has multiple oscillators, multiple modules. By module, I mean an oscillator or a modulator, or a filter, or wave shaper. Those are called modules, and you can have up to 16 modules per layer. And you can also have up to 32 modulation sources per layer. For instance, this layer has 3 different modulation sources. You can have 32 modulation sources per layer. And just like this menu here, we have add, remove menus for modules here. And we have add, remove menus for modulation sources here. So to see and edit layers, we have different view types. Right now, I'm on the tab view page, so I see the layers as different tabs. And to edit a layer content, I click on the tab to switch to that layer. We also have track view and mix view. So on the track view, I see the layers as a horizontal list. And I can also scroll down to see the other layers. And here I can easily edit similar properties of layers. For instance, I can easily edit the sequence parameters for each layer, or the voice parameters like this, the voice settings of each layer, or the keyboard and velocity zones of layers. I can easily edit them from a single screen. And there's also a mix view. On the mix view, I see the layers as vertical lists. And here we display the effect configurations. We have the layer insert effects. We can have up to 6 inserts per layer. And then we can set the layer send amounts. We have 2 global effect buses, which are actually displayed here. So we have FX bus 1 and FX bus 2. And we can also directly send the layers to the output. So we have these output send knobs as well. For instance, let's play this again. Now I want to solo a layer, for instance, so I press the S button. Or if I want to mute a specific layer, I press the M button. For instance, I want to change the effect send amount for this layer. Let's first solo it. So this is how we use the track view and the mix view. Next, I'm going to showcase some of my favorite presets that I want to have you guys listen to. Let's click on the browser button to switch to the preset browser. As you see, I see lots of banks here, although we don't have any expansions for SynthMaster 3 yet. That's because SynthMaster 3 can load SynthMaster One and SynthMaster 2 presets as well. For instance, here, let's choose SynthMaster 2 as a product filter. And now I see all the SynthMaster 2 presets. You can even actually listen to the preset preview without loading it. Just move your mouse over this play icon here. This preview functionality is very handy when you have presets that load, for instance, large sample libraries. So let's, for instance, load this organ. Aside from loading an entire preset, you can also load SynthMaster 1 and SynthMaster 2 presets into specific layers. For instance, I want to load this into a different layer. Right-click and load on layer, for instance, layer, new layer. Let's say new layer. So if I go to the tab view, now I have 4 layers. Let's go back to the browser again and load this organ on layers 5 and 6. Let's solo them. Let's also look into some SynthMaster One presets. Yeah, let's load this on layer 5 and this one on layer 6. Let's clear the solo flags. So this is how you can load existing SynthMaster 1 or SynthMaster 2 presets into SynthMaster 3. But now I'm gonna switch to SynthMaster 3 presets. These are the new factory presets that we have in the beta version. So far we have presets from Demis Helen, Gerçek Dorman, Natlife and Yuli Yolo. But we have more on the way, and we are hoping to reach 1,000 presets by the end of the year. Now I want to show you guys some of the new factory presets from the SynthMaster 3 factory library. Let me click on the My Favorites bank to see my favorites, and let's listen to them. Let's see if these presets have macros assigned. Oh yeah, they have. So I actually mapped my easy macros to my MIDI controller knobs. As you see, they are all assigned. So let's listen to them. By the way, I'm using the up and down scroll keys on my keyboard to change the presets. Nice percussion. And this one is a multi-track. Another multi-track by Gerçek. Nice trance sequence by Demis Helen. A nice cinematic sequence by Juliola. Okay, so much for the presets showcase. Now I'm going to move to the oscillators and continue with the new features in oscillators. Now I'm going to start off with the init preset, which is basically a single oscillator and single filter. Let's turn off the filter and explore the basic oscillator. So the basic oscillator can contain basic wave types like sine, triangle, square, sawtooth, pulse, and there are also different types of noises. These noises are new, by the way, in SynthMaster 3. Like we have the pink noise, brown noise, violet noise, the blue noise. And you can also load single cycle waveforms. We have lots of waveforms. And you can load multi-samples onto the basic oscillator. We have lots of new factory content for our factory samples. Like we have some acoustic instruments, cello, viola. We have acoustic guitar, bass guitar, bouzouki, kanun, santur, oud, classical guitar, electrical guitar. And then we have the female solo samples, male solo samples. And then we have the woodwinds. So we have lots of things to explore in this new beta version. I'm going to start off with a basic sawtooth waveform. And nothing fancy here. Let's switch to the voices tab here and turn on the oscillator unison. Now I'm playing 7 voices all together at the same time. Let's give some detune. And pan spread. And let's make this oscillator free running so that when I hit a key, the phases of each waveforms are random. And let's give some release. We also added some new oscillator unison settings in version 3. Those are like the mix type. Normally, or previously, when you turned on oscillator unison, all the voices playing had the same pitch, and this is the unison setting. But now we have other settings, like we have fifths, or we have octaves, 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves, or you can have some well-known chords like major, minor, augmented, diminished, so these settings are new in SynthMaster 3 compared to SynthMaster 2. We also have some new mix and pan curves here. So this is the default setting. I'm going to change this mix curve. But let's first change the type to unison. So this mix curve changes the volumes of each voice separately using this curve. There's also a pan curve. This pan curve can be used to change the stereo width of the waveform, the oscillator. So these are the new features regarding oscillator unison. Now I'm going to switch this oscillator to a noise type. Let's switch to white noise first. This is white noise, but let's change this voices to 1. Let's switch to pink noise, brown noise, violet, this is a high pass noise, blue noise. We also have some sampled noises from SynthMaster One. These are all sampled. This one is sampled from an analog synth. This one also. To see all of the list, yeah, these are all sampled from synths. Okay, so these are the new features regarding the basic oscillators and unison and noise. Next, I'm going to describe how the new virtual analog oscillator works. To show the virtual analog oscillator, I'm going to change this oscillator type to VAnalog Oscillator by using this menu, replace with VAnalog Oscillator. So as you see, this oscillator has a simple shape, but the thing is you can change the shape as you wish. You have basically two different line segments here, and you can change their lengths, initial and final points, and also the slopes. And you can do this on two separate waveforms like this. And then you can morph between those two waveforms using these XMorph and YMorph parameters. So to see the morph in action, I'm going to assign the mode wheel to these controls here. And let's play. Let's continue exploring. As you might hear, this oscillator generates some aliasing, which is expected because we're not doing any type of band limiting. But to prevent that or to lower that, we can increase the quality here from low to, for instance, normal. Or to high. Or to best. Best is basically 4 times oversampling. Like in basic oscillators, you can actually add some unison voices here. And since our purpose was to mimic analog waveforms, we actually created some presets for the virtual analog oscillator. And you can load them by clicking on this menu here, load presets. And I have different waveforms here. Of course, I need to increase the quality. This is the, for instance, Andromeda pulse. And using my scroll wheel, I will scroll through the presets. Hear how this sounds. This is basically an SH101 pulse. Oh, the wrong parameter, sorry. Let's clear the modulations. I'm gonna modulate the XMorph and YMorph here. So you might wonder why we would need a new oscillator like this while we have the basic and the wavetable oscillators. The reason is, there are two reasons. The first reason is, with this one, you can create really interesting morphing shapes from one shape to another continuously. You cannot basically do that, for instance, using a wavetable oscillator, because the wavetable oscillator has a fixed number of frames, wavetable frames, and those, because of the fixed number of frames, you get a clicked sound. But here, while you morph, you actually get a smooth sound. There's also another reason to use the virtual analog oscillator. The basic and the wavetable oscillators at low notes, like below the first octave, they don't have a good resolution. So I might say they might not have a good low end. But that's not true for these virtual analog oscillators. So I would highly recommend you guys to use these oscillators when you are trying to have analog sounding oscillators. Let's also change this type to octaves. We didn't increase the voices here. Let's also add some drift here to the morph controls and the pitch. So this is so much for the virtual analog oscillator. Next, I'm going to move on to the wavetable oscillator. To switch to the wavetable oscillator, I'm going to use this replace menu again, and I'm going to select replace with wavetable oscillator. And as you see, it actually converted the virtual analog oscillator shape into a wavetable. Let's go back to the tab view. Another thing to highlight, while converting the oscillator from virtual analog to wavetable, it actually preserved the existing parameter values and also the modulation. So it didn't just init a wavetable. It's also copied the existing voices parameters, for instance. These are copied from the virtual analog oscillator to the wavetable oscillator. But the thing is, the wave shape is also copied as a wavetable to our wavetable oscillator. So regarding the wavetable oscillator in SynthMaster 3, this is a really cool and comprehensive wavetable editor. For each wavetable in SynthMaster, first we have a source. We can have different source types. For instance, here it says line source, meaning that I have some single cycle waveforms on different keyframes. This is my start waveform, and this is my end waveform. But the thing is, while I'm morphing in between these two shapes, I'm not simply crossfading between the two shapes. I'm just interpolating the existing line segments of the waveforms. So this creates a nicer or better waveform as opposed to just crossfading between the two. And let's look at the parameters or the features of the Wavetable Editor. First, we have the number of frames. you can have between 2 to 256 frames. For instance, let us choose 16 frames. And when you change the number of frames, the lines here change to indicate that I can have up to this number of frames. Let's turn off the unison for a while. As you see, when I move my mouse wheel, I hear some stepping because I have low number of frames. I can, of course, increase this to, for instance, 128. So it's smoother. I can, as I said, I can increase up to 256 frames. But I usually work with 128, so let's go back to 128. And I can also normalize the output so that there's no, so that it's bound between -1 and +1. And I can also remove the DC offset. So for the line sources, we can add points. For instance, I added this point here. It also added another point here. So let's like change this shape. This is my start shape, and this is my end shape. So when I move this keyframe marker, you see that it displays a different waveform. It displays the wavetable rendered at that keyframe. And of course, you can I can save this wavetable in different formats. The first format is SynthMaster's own internal format. So I can just save this as a custom wavetable. I can also save this as a wave file. For instance, let's save it as a 16-bit integer wave file. Let's save it to my D drive, test waveform. And then I can actually open this using a Waveform Editor. Let's open it with Odyssey. But as you see, it's opening. Yeah, as you see, each frame has a length of 246 samples. This is the default frame length that SynthMaster uses. 2048. I'm sorry, I said 248. 2048 is the default wavetable length that SynthMaster 3 or SynthMaster 1 and 2, all of our products use that length as the default wavetable length. So let's go back to the wavetable oscillator. I'm going to have 16 frames. And now for the line source, I'm going to say convert source to wave source. Aside from line sources, we have wave sources and file sources. Let's convert this to a wave source. So when I converted this as a wave source, now I have 16 different waveforms here, as you see. These are all different waveforms. And you can edit their shapes individually. Like you can just freehand draw. You can draw each one separately. You can even draw the spectrums like this. So freehand drawing is possible, and you can undo or redo. This is also possible. Like when you do an edit, you can undo and redo. I think there's a bug here. I will fix it. But undo and redo actually works. You see the shape, the sound changes, but I think there's a graphic bug. I will fix it. Wavetable. I'm going to increase the number of frames to 64. And let's use the mod wheel to cycle through the wavetable. I can go further and convert this wave source to a file source. Let's choose render wavetable to file source. This actually converts the entire wavetable into a file source. So as you see now, I have a sample file which represents the wavetable with 64 different frames. Or if I want, I can actually load different wavetables. For instance, let's load Bluff Monkey 10 wavetable. Now, I talked about the wavetable source types. We have line source, wave source, and file source. And now I'm going to talk about the effects that we can add to our wavetable. We have different types of effects. For instance, we have a spectral filter, wave shaper, modulator, shifter, bender, lo-fi, and sync. Let's explore them. The wave shaper is basically, this is a distortion effect. And we have different types of distortion here. Let's go to the final frame here and increase the drive here. So as you see, it is distorted. We can also add some bias and symmetry. And we can then normalize. And let's increase the number of frames to 64. Let's move the keyframe marker to the beginning. Let's add another effect, like a shifter. Let's go to the final frame. This actually shifts the X and Y axis. You can wrap or clip. Let's clip actually. This is with with the shifter, and if I turn it off, let's use the wrap setting here. So yeah, this is the shifter. I'm going to delete this effect. Let's add a new one, like the bender. We can also switch, delete the wave shaper and add a lo-fi effect. Let's actually move this up. Let's hear how the lo-fi sounds. So lo-fi basically applies bit reduction and also sample rate reduction. And you can also have some attack and release parameters here. I'm going to increase the number of frames to 128. Doesn't sound that smooth, but we can play with the settings here actually. So as you see, the waveform is transformed dramatically during the frames. The shape changes based on the effect that we apply. Let's also turn on bender. Now I'm going to turn these off and I'm going to save this wavetable again. Now I'm going to do something, I'm going to show something else which is important. The master filter here. This is basically a spectral filter. And I can have either I can draw the filter shape using line segments, or I can, let's choose freehand, or I can just draw the shape like this freehand. So this is my initial shape. And this is going to be my final shape. Let's also have some peaks here. So as you see, my spectrum changes like this. This is with the filter, and without the filter, let's apply the filter again. But let's increase these peaks. Oh, that's too loud. You can other interesting stuff with the master filter, like you can change the ratio of even and odd harmonics. Like if it's all the way to the left, it's all odd harmonics. And this is all even harmonics all the way to the right. Let's have something in between. And for the initial filter, it's the ratio is equal. For the final, let's have some even harmonics more. So it changes like this. There's also another important parameter for the master filter. It's the key track. Right now it's at 100%. It's at the maximum value, which means that when I press a key, the filter spectrum will be shifted as well. But if I have, for instance, a different key track value, this is with half key track, and with full key track, with really low key track, so you can lower the key track to create more vocal-like sounds. Let's also save this one. And when you save in our own format, all this effect information is saved, by the way. We don't only save the WAV file. So now I'm going to do something more interesting. I'm going to switch to a different file source. I basically loaded a wavetable file with four frames. Now I'm going to load a sample. Yes, a sample. Let's try some vocal samples. For instance, we have factory, vocal, like an ah sound. Let's choose this. So basically the singer is saying yeah. By default, SynthMaster automatically just detected the period markers of this sample. But if the period markers are not accurate, you can actually use the scroll wheel here to zoom inside the sample file and select a single cycle period here and right click and select detect periods around selection. So this detection used some further processing, and it's actually detected all the pitch markers. And for this, let's actually start from here. Let's start from here, and for the final keyframe, let's end somewhere in between. Okay, now let's hear the sample. No, let's start from the beginning. For the file source, here there are different blend algorithms like waveform or spectral. For better results, I'm going to use the spectral algorithm and select the first phase, which basically uses the first phase information from the first wavetable frame. I can even actually remove this mod wheel. I can add an envelope to modulate this index parameter, but I'm gonna do a reverse modulation here. And let's have some decay and release. Like this. So I can control how fast the wavetable index moves. This is too slow. Let's also add some attack to the volume envelope. So I can continue playing with other samples, like let's load factory again. Sample factory, vocals. Where's vocals? Yeah, vocals. I think I need to sort these. Vocal, male, and Barış A. Let's play an A sound. So yeah, this is an A, male A. Again, I'm going to detect the periods. Wait, this index is not moving. Of course, because it has to be like this. As you hear, there's some chipmunk effect, because right now we haven't developed any format correction algorithm yet. But hopefully we will do that. Maybe not in the official version 3 release, but in an upcoming version like 3.1. So hopefully, yeah, we will do format correction too for acoustic and vocal samples. So it's going to be more interesting. You will be able to change the key track amount, for instance. So this is so much for the Wavetable Oscillator and the Wavetable Editor. I hope I made myself clear about how the Wavetable Editor works. And there's something else I want to show you regarding the Wavetable Editor. For instance, let's say I have a basic oscillator and it's playing, for instance, a pulse waveform like this. When I convert this to the wavetable, it just converts it as a pulse wavetable. Or if I have a basic oscillator with a sample loaded, let's, for instance, cello sustain. Let's solo this first. Now, after playing my sample, if I say replace with wavetable oscillator, it just converts the sample that I played into a wavetable. So this is a really handy way of converting basic oscillators in sample form as samples into wavetables. you can just do that by using this replace menu. So let's move on to the new filter types. To show the new filter types, I'm going to start with an init preset again, init preset. And let's select, let's actually create a custom waveform this time. Yes, we can also do that. We have a custom waveform editor. So let's select freehand and let's draw something like a saw waveform here. Let's also add some peaks like this. And let's turn off the filter. I'm going to change this filter type to a phaser filter. And let's turn on the filter. Basically, this phaser filter is similar to the phaser effect. Let's actually have a phaser effect. It's almost identical to the phaser effect here, but it operates per voice. It's a polyphonic effect. And also, it doesn't have an LFO assigned by default. For instance, let's actually use the mod wheel to modulate its cutoff frequency. And since it's a polyphonic effect or filter, it has key track, meaning that when you press different keys, the filters for different keys will have different cutoff frequencies. And here I have a monotype. I can also have a stereo phaser with different cutoffs for left and right channels. So for the right channel, I'm also going to modulate it with the mod wheel. So this is the left channel, and this is the right channel. Let's add some release, attack. I can play with the phaser parameters, like I can change the spacing between these notches. I can change the input and output mix ratios. The mid value is, I think, the best. I can also change the number of filters stages. Like 16 is really cool. Of course, I can create a low frequency oscillator here and simply assign it to the cutoff frequencies for the left and right channels. Let's make it really slow. 1/2, and let's make it a global LFO, so it's not a polyphonic. going to go back to the waveform here and show something further with the waveform editor. Just like the Wavetable Editor, the Waveform Editor also has a spectral filter. So aside from the waveform, you can apply a spectral filter to it. Like, let's have something like this. Or actually, let's draw something like a vocal filter. Yeah, it sounds like a vocal sound. And of course, we can change the key track. So this is so much for the phaser filter I'm going to talk about. Next, let's move to the comp filter. To explain the comp filter, let's first convert our filter to a comp filter. Let's also clear modulations and remove feedback. I'm also going to turn off the spectral filter for this oscillator, so it resembles a sawtooth. Let's actually draw a sawtooth. Okay. Now I have a sawtooth. Let's turn on the comp filter. So the comp filter is basically a filter with delay. It has two modes. One is backward and the other is forward. The forward one is like a chorus, and maybe I can describe the backward algorithm as like a flanger with feedback. So basically, comp filter is mostly used in physical modeling algorithms. So, but first I'm going to show it with the sawtooth input. I'm going to add the mod wheel. Let's have full key track. Of course, we need some feedback here for the comp filter. So this is how the comp filter sounds with the periodic input. We can actually modulate this frequency with the LFO here. So if I increase the feedback, I can also try the forward algorithm. Let's make this slower. As you hear, it sounds like a chorus / flanger. So you can think of the comp filter as a polyphonic chorus effect. There's also, I'm going to go back to the backward algorithm. There's also damp filter settings for the comp filter. So basically there's a feedback path for the comp filter, especially in the backward algorithm. And you can change the filter types in the feedback path. By default, we have a low pass filter, which is LP type cut, and the high pass filter is off. So if I turn off if I lower the frequency of the low pass filter, we don't have any feedback. I can also turn this to a low shelf filter, like this. So by playing with these, you can have different feedback configurations for the comp filter. Now I described how the comp filter works with a periodic input, but this time I'm going to switch to a noise type like a pink noise. And I'm gonna turn off the this modulation. So as you hear, with a noise input, it actually sounds like a wind instrument. Now I'm going to change this filter type to a low pass in the feedback loop. I can also try shelf filter. So you can really create a flute-like sounds using a noise input with the comp filter. You can also actually drive. So this is basically how you can use the comp filter. Now I'm going to show you guys the formant filters. I'm going to switch back to a sawtooth oscillator again. Let's actually draw a custom waveform. This time let's use line segments to draw our waveform. Let's turn off the filter first. So this is my input signal, the sawtooth waveform rich with harmonics. Let's convert this filter to a formant filter. So basically, the formant filter is a vocal filter. As you see, we have a bank of bandpass filters. There are actually 5 bandpass filters here, and these are the formant frequencies: 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5th one. Maybe the fifth one is not necessary, but I just put it just in case. Because in the data sheet that I got from the internet, there were 5 4-month frequencies. So that's why I actually used 5 bandpass filters. Let's turn this on and let's use the mod wheel to modulate the frequency. Let's, okay, so let's actually not modulate the frequency. Let's actually modulate the 4 months. We can also add modulation from here. So we have different 4-month frequencies. Like we have an alto, we have alto, bass, countertenor, soprano, and tenor. Let's try alto A and alto E. So it should sound like A-E. Yeah, it sounds like A-E. You can also change the initial start frequency. So if you increase this frequency, it sounds more like a child. And if you lower the frequency, it should sound more like an adult. You can also play with the resonance. Let's lower the resonance first. You can also play with the spacing between the frequencies. Let's try O and U. I mean, it resembles. As you see, there's also a key track enabled because this is a polyphonic effect. But for vocal stuff, I don't want much key track, so let's lower this. No, this is too low. Much better. Okay, I think I explained the new filters. Next, I'm going to talk about the arpeggiator and the sequencer in the layers. To explain the arpeggiators and the sequencers, first I'm going to start with an init preset. And again, I'm going to draw something freehand. And this time I'm going to create a basic, let's create some basic attack. Let's also apply this to the filter. I didn't like the sound. Now, as you see here on the layer tabs, we have both sequencer and arpeggiator. Yes, in SynthMaster 1 and 2, we didn't have that. We had a single arpeggiator which can also function as a sequencer. But in SynthMaster 3, those two are separated so that we can have more, we can create more flexible patches. First, the incoming MIDI signal goes through the sequencer, and after the sequencer, it goes through the arpeggiator. And why in that order? Because we can, for instance, run chord sequences using the sequencer, and then arpeggiate those chord sequences in really fun ways. So let's give an example to that. I prepared some, I have some chord progressions here that I downloaded from the internet. Let's listen to this one. Yeah, this one sounds good. So I'm going to basically drag and drop this one here on the sequencer. And now, as you see, the sequencer should play this. An important note regarding MIDI import into SynthMaster, into the sequencers. Basically, SynthMaster cannot import any MIDI file. The file must be quantized. For polyphonic files, it can only import chords. It cannot just import any MIDI file. But hopefully, we will add support for playing regular any MIDI file in the future. Maybe in our version 4 update, but not yet. So, having said that, let's go back. And here, I don't see the notes here, but it says chord. Since that's because this sequencer view is too small, so I cannot show all the notes here. But if you click on this zoom icon here, if you click on the zoom icon, it actually displays all the notes, and you can move your mouse over this piano roll, and you can scroll up or down using the mouse scroll, and using your Shift and mouse scroll, you can actually zoom in and zoom out like this. And if your mouse is over a step and if you use your scroll mouse, you can actually shift all of the notes here. You can, of course, try different chord progressions. Let's try all of them. Nice one. I like this one, so now I'm going to do something more fun. I'm going to turn on the arpeggiator. So I'm going to add a new modulation for the filter frequency, which is the MIDI velocity. Basically, these step volumes turn into MIDI velocities for the arpeggiators and the sequencers. I think we have to change the modulation type. Let's also change this modulation amount for the envelope. Let's also change the modulation amount for the velocity. Now I'm going to change the bass time for the arpeggiator. Let's go to 16th notes. Let's make this an up arpeggiator, and let's make this like 2 octaves. We can also make it 3 octaves. We can also make it down. Let's make this 2 octaves. Now I'm going to show another new feature. Normally, when you press these when you press these hold or trigger buttons, they turn on and off. Okay. But the thing is, you can change the values of this trigger and hold continuously. Like, for instance, let's click on the trigger and let's move the mouse down. So basically, I'm changing the trigger probability. So I'm giving it a random value. Let's make all of these steps random. So basically, the step will either trigger or not based on the probability. As you hear, it's all random. And you can go further. I'm just going to zoom for the arpeggiator. And here, for the volume and gate parameters, you can also specify some random values like this. So basically, the gate length and the step volume can also be a random value. So basically, using these random features, you can turn both the sequencer and the arpeggiator into random like generators. Okay guys, so this is so much for the arpeggiators and the sequencers. I hope I made myself clear about them. Next, I'm going to talk about the sample editor that we have in SynthMaster 3, which actually deserves a lot of attention because it's really a powerful multi-sample editor. So let's turn off the filter, and for the Oscillator One, let's play with some new factory samples. Like let's load some acoustic guitar. Let's turn off the sequencer and the arpeggiator. Let's actually start with an init patch. And then let's load the plug strings acoustic guitar. Let's try some other samples. Plugged strings, acoustic guitar 2. Let's add some release. If I want to edit this multi-sample, I just click on this edit icon and the sample editor window opens up. As here I see all of the regions. If I click on a region, then I can see the parameters for this region. For instance, this region, let's actually press the play button to play the region. And let's click on other regions. To hear them. By the way, while this play button is on, it will play on a region when you click on the region. Okay, so if I want to edit this region, for instance, I want to change the root key. To learn the root key, I'm just zooming in and I'm selecting a single period here, okay? And then right click and set selection as root node. And when I do this, it actually analyzes again the period markers. This is similar to the algorithm that we use in the wavetable samples input for the wavetables. So it's analyzed all the pitch markers. And this white line here you see are the pitches of instantaneous pitches. And it found the average root key as F2 7 cents. And you can actually do this process for all of the samples and you can find the exact root keys for them. And if you want to select regions, for instance, with using MIDI, you press on this MIDI select button. And when you press a key on your MIDI keyboard, it automatically selects the region here and displays its information. And let's select all. You can edit multiple regions, by the way. For instance, I selected all of the regions and I click on extend velocity. So it extends the velocities for all of these regions. Or I can do other stuff like I can copy, cut, or delete regions, move them to a different group. You can group regions actually, which is really handy. You can detect the start and end positions. You can, for instance, normalize the volumes. Let's look at the, let's go to the amplifier tab and it says 10 dB. Let's select all and normalize volume by to 0 dB peak, for instance. If I do this, it's the gain is 3 dB for all of the regions, but this is too low. I can try 0 dB RMS, and this time it's 10 dB. It sounds much better, and you can even increment volumes for all of the regions by a specific dB. For instance, plus 3 dB. So for all the regions now it's 13 dB. When you can also, of course, change the region boundaries like this. And if I press the extend key, no, it didn't do that correctly. Anyway, let's extend the velocity. Yeah. So I'm done with my editing and I want to save my sample. So I can save it in SFZ format. Save, for instance, samples. I can save it like this. I can also select the Save SFC plus Samples option. So for this, I'm going to create a new folder, test samples. So I'm going to go to that folder now. It's on the D drive. Tests. Oh wait, it didn't save. I think there was a problem. I don't think it saved the samples, but it saved the SFC file. Okay, this looks like a bug. I am just noting this down. Save SFC plus samples don't work. Okay, guys, this was working before. I'm going to fix it. And now I'm going to show you how to import samples into SynthMaster. So for this, I'm going to start off with a new sample. Now it's asking me to select the folder to import the samples. So I have some piano samples here. This is a public domain library. I'm going to select this folder. This is going to be my root folder for the multi-samples. And now I'm going to select all of the samples that I want to import. As you see, there are a lot of samples. I'm not going to import the hammer noises, but these individual notes. Now it's analyzing the samples. It's calculating their peak values because it's going to sort them based on their peak values. This might take time, but at least we are displaying the progress here. Okay, now I have all of my regions, as you see. And now I'm going to select all, and I'm going to press Extend key. So all of the regions are extended. Let's actually save this. Let's actually save this as a custom multi-sample. I'm going to save my project now. SM3 beta piano multi-sample. Because SynthMaster saves the SFC information, not the samples, but the metadata in the presets binary settings. So this is how I can actually import samples. You can also do drag and drop. So for that, let's say new sample. I'm not going. Let's select this folder. Now I'm going to manually drag and drop samples here. So under the downloads folder, I had some samples, like some one-shot samples. Nori Ubukata sent them to me. For instance, let's try this one. Oh, weird, it didn't import. Let's try to import downloads, Egyptian darbuka. Let's try to import all of them at once. Oh yeah, it is importing, as you see. Now, looks like this sample actually contains multiple samples in different velocity regions. So I'm going to switch to slice here, and I'm going to slice this sample. So I'm going to make this user. So when I selected the user, it actually sliced correctly into 4 separate regions. And now I'm going to select this option, select slices as velocity regions. So it's going to separate these 4 slices into separate 4 samples. And as you see, yeah, it did that correctly. And basically those 4 regions are using the same sample file, but we have different start and end positions. And I can do the same thing for the other guys, like user, separate slices as velocity regions. And I can continue this further. And let's also save this save project as SM3 beta Darbuka multisample. So as you see, we have a really powerful and useful multisample editor. I hope it will be really helpful to you guys in creating your own multisamples. And finally, now I'm going to talk about the routing, the custom routing capabilities in SynthMaster and how we can use them to create complex patches like some FM sounds. So to show the complex routing that you can use for the layers, I'm going to go to the browser and I'm going to select my own template presets. As you see, I created some templates here, which are actually Yamaha DX7 algorithms. For instance, let's select algorithm 20. So if I go to the tab view and look at the routing, as you see, I see 3 different operators, 6 different operators. These are actually oscillators and modulators. And I also see a filter, and the filter goes to the layer effects. Now here, I'm going to add a wave shaper, and I'm going to drag and drop this wave shaper in between the filter and the effects. So when I dropped it in between them, SynthMaster automatically connected the shaper between filter 1 and the layer effects. So this was just to demonstrate how you can add new modules using the routing view. But I'm not going to use the shaper. Now let's try playing some notes. Let's actually... I'm just using op1 now. By the way, if you press the control key and then if you press on a module, here it switches to that module. Like if I click on filter 1, okay, yeah. Looks like this, yeah, it now works. It switched to filter 1. It switched to, when I clicked on shaper 1, it switched to shaper 1. So you can quickly and easily switch between modules using control and mouse click. You can do that. And similarly, if you click on a mod matrix entry like this, it switches. It shows the shows the target module, and also it shows the modulation source like this. For instance, this modulation scalar 4 modulating this volume like this, or ADSR envelope 1, modulating op1 volume. So you can easily browse through modules using these two useful features. So I'm going to go back to the operators, the oscillators. Let's actually go to operator 1 and change. Let's actually play with some envelopes here. Let's actually go to operator 2 and again change its pitch -1 octaves. Let's also change the pitch of operator 4. Basically a 6-operator FM sound. And here the operator 3 is actually using feedback, so let's increase feedback. And let's turn on the shaper to, let's turn off the filter and turn on the shaper. Let's save this project, SynthMaster Beta FM routing. And we're all set. So guys, I think this is enough for the introduction to the beta version. And I'm hoping to create further videos. And hopefully other YouTube influencers will also create further videos for us. We're hoping that. And I hope you also create some videos to show off the new features in SynthMaster 3 because we believe it deserves some attention. Thank you for watching me and have a great day. Bye.